I had learned and how it could possibly pertain to our efforts, if it's okay. Give me a minute or two.
Sure, that sounds great.
Okay.
Well, ordinances are always good to copy.
Yeah. But that last solar deal that we did, that was a good deal. That was a good deal. We just had those few extra things that came up out of it fell through the cracks that Mo wanted to address, and I thought it was harmless enough, but apparently it was not, and it was very well taken. So maybe we could regroup on that somehow, but not at this minute.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. I would like to begin. It's 9 o'clock. I'd like to begin the Energy and Environmental Committee meeting for Friday, October 15th. I am Mavis Bates, and welcome to all my committee members. Clerk, please call the roll.
Woznicki,
Present.
Allen, Caius, Molina,
Present.
Strathman,
Strathman here.
Wallace, Bates,
Bates here.
you have a quorum.
Thank you. I hope some of our other committee members join soon. May I have a motion and second to approve the minutes from September 17th, 2021?
So
Wolnik
moved,
moves.
Strathman.
Second, Wolnik seconds.
Strathman moves, Wolnicki seconds. Is there any discussion about the minutes from September 17th? Clerk, please call the roll.
Allen, Caius, Molina,
yes.
Strathman,
Strathman, yes.
Wallace, Woznicki,
Yes.
Bates.
Bates, yes. Thank you.
Passes.
Is there any public comment today, either online or in the boardroom? Seeing none, we will continue. Miss Wolnik, would you please bring up the discussion on the sustainability planning?
Thank you. Is that working?
Did you find it?
No, I think I picked the bad link again.
I
Madam
can hear
Chair.
you.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Well, this
just-
one's much
Better.
better.
Madam Chair recognizes Mr.
Chris
Caius.
Caius. I apologize for being like, I got stuck, so I'm going to zoom in this morning. I apologize. I
Okay,
see I'm not the only one.
thanks for,
Thank you. I apologize.
okay, thanks for joining us, Mr. Caius.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's not. It doesn't seem to be advancing, so I'll just tell you next slide. Mr. Copey brought up at the Agricultural Committee last month some thoughts and ideas in regards to our sustainability planning for the county. And as we discussed at Ag Committee, we wanted to bring that discussion to E&E Committee as just beginning steps to update some of our sustainability plans and to incorporate some of the thoughts and ideas from the various committees that we work with. Next slide, please. So I just wanted to do a brief overview of the plans that we do have related to the sustainability planning for the county. I did not include the county's 2040 plan. There is a section in there, but I wanted to speak more this morning about the plans that have definitive action items that are defined within the plans that we are attempting to accomplish throughout these plans. So wanted to give you an update as to where we're at with these plans and also kind of where we want to go from here. So the first plan I want to review is the 2013 Kane County Operational Sustainability Plan. This plan specifically focused on goals for county facilities. These are buildings and grounds that are owned and maintained by the county. Phase 2 was included in this plan to be a community sustainability plan. That would be efforts that would go out to municipalities, unincorporated residents, and provide them with sustainability options for their property. So it's mentioned in this plan, but there's no detail in regards to much of community sustainability planning. So the next few bullet points are the major sections within the Kane County Operational Sustainability Plan and what they attempted to accomplish. So the first section is the fleet and driving, and that was specific to our no idle policy. And we see those signs around the county, and under Jessica's guidance, she had also connected with many of the school districts and got no idling signs up for the school districts as well. We still have signs available and are offered to any school districts or park districts that are interested in those signs. The next section was the roads and grounds. That was specifically addressing native vegetation, pavement longevity, permeable pavers, and the recovery of construction demolition debris and efficient salting operations and traffic management. There has been great strides in all of these areas. We have a permeable pavers out front, as well as native vegetation. We have our rain garden out back, and KDOT has worked very hard to make their efficiency with the salting operations as well as traffic management to reduce those idling times. The next section is the purchasing section. This is recommended for green and items to be recycled with recycled content, as well as a surplus exchange program. We did run several surplus exchange programs. There was an area down in the break room on the lower ground floor for exchanging of materials. And our previous purchasing director, as well as Ms. Jarlin and Ms. Klee, were working on a green purchasing plan for the county. So I believe that will continue on in 2022. They had made great progress with that, and it will be there for further discussion. The next item is facilities. That was focused on our LEED certification, which Ms. Klee is working on currently. The replacement of high water use plumbing fixtures with lower water use fixtures, as well as energy conserving light and automatic timers. Those were all completed, as well as the recycling of electronics in office and pilot green energy program. In the office specifically, there was focus on waste minimization, zero waste meetings, as well as the elimination of single-use items. The employee wellness included the campus walking paths, which you'll see the map for that in the break room downstairs, as well as stress management. So many of the goals that were presented in the 2013 operational sustainability plan, we did make great progress on, and that's something to be proud of. Next slide, please. The 2011 Kane County Energy Plan was funded through the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act of 2009. Karen Miller is online. She was involved heavily with that plan. If we have any further questions for her. It did focus on the projected growth of Kane County and how that would impact our energy use. There's a lot of great figures within this document that go through what energy is consumed by Kane County residents. This is a county-wide focus, so it looks at both residential, industrial, and commercial. It put forth a goal of energy conservation and reduction in consumption of 10 to 25%, but it did not give specific milestones in that goal or timeframes for that goal. There's strategies listed for both residential, commercial, and industrial buildings, and it recommends that the county provide training to municipalities to achieve the energy reduction goals. It also suggests looking for funding to implement energy efficiency projects, create a warehouse of information about energy consumption around the county, promote economic development through energy efficiency and conservation. This is specifically our wonderful KEEP program that provides the financing mechanism for many of those energy efficiency and conservation improvements that private developers would like to do to their facilities. It suggests keeping network and on top of changes in the industry, as well as providing a snapshot of energy use in Kane County. And it details reductions in energy costs on an individual property scale. As I mentioned, Karen is online with us. She did provide me with some additional detail in regards to how the plan was utilized specifically for the Village of Big Rocks comprehensive plan, which was led by the county and included a sustainability and energy chapter that included data from this plan, as well as additional presentations that were provided throughout the county in regards to energy efficiency and renewable energy that were included in the plan, and all the resources and opportunities that were presented at this committee as well. One of the challenges that we see with this plan is that there were the specific recommendations on a residential scale would have been difficult to implement given the staffing at the county. But it does provide a great snapshot of the energy use within the county and some goals that we can look to. Next slide, please. So we have the 2021 Climate Action Plan, which just came out. This was a collaborative regional plan that was released this year. It provides a roadmap of various strategies and goals, and they're defined at reduction levels, as well as 8 mitigation goals and objectives that are broad in scope, are not defined at a county level, but they give us a starting point to do so. Sustainability plans in our area are very common. However, not many communities have climate action plans. The climate action plan provides checklists for each goal and breaks them down into lead, encourage, equity, and outcomes. What needs to happen if we look to this plan to update our plans is to include detailed action items and how we will, as a county, lead, encourage, provide equity, and determine what those outcomes will be. So next slide, please. So what are our next steps? We have 2 pretty outdated plans, and we have a great resource in the 2021 Climate Action Plan. So CMAP has recently released a local technical assistance grant earlier this month, and we are looking into it as a staff to determine if updating these plans and combining them into one overall sustainability and climate action plan for the county would be an opportunity to receive grant funding to do that work. We also want to recommend development of detailed scope on how to combine the objectives within that climate action plan into the Kane County Climate Action Plan, because many of the objectives in that plan may not necessarily apply to us, and we might have slightly different goals in how to accomplish them. We need to also strongly consider how Kane County integrates our goals with our community goals and what kind of staffing and capacity we have. As we kind of saw in the sustainability plan, as well as the energy plan, while we're working on internal sustainability goals, we have many times we have the resources to complete those goals. However, when we're working with larger groups or individual resident levels, it becomes more difficult, and it increases the need for staffing to try to accomplish those goals. So we need to keep that in mind when we are writing this plan update as to our resources that are available to make sure that the goals are attainable for the county. Next slide, please. So again, as Mr. Copey had, I included some of the items Mr. Copey had requested at Ag Committee or suggested. We are definitely open to thoughts and ideas and suggestions from the committee in regards to the incorporation of all these plans into a single document, and what you feel is missing from the documents that we have and what kind of focus we'd like to see in those. So please feel free to reach out to Ms. Klee or myself if you have any thoughts or ideas. One of the ideas that came out of the Ag Committee was a funding source, a stable funding source for sustainability action items within county facilities, as well as there's been some talks about solar farms and fields that would potentially be located on county property and how we would manage those with lease agreements, et cetera. There's not a lot of detail in any of our current plans in regards to that type of enterprise. So that's all I had. If there's any questions, I am open to questions. Thanks.
Any questions from the committee or others?
Yes, Ms. Bates. Hi, good morning. It's Corinne.
Oh.
May I speak?
Sure, Corinne, go ahead.
Thank you. This is wonderful. And I love the idea of the big picture, but what's important is the accountability and the planning of it. And we've got, Barbara was talking to me about the other day about the 2050 plan and pulling that out. And we have transportation. I know CMAP has been talking about transportation needs and how that impacts communities, looking through economic development opportunities from them and equity. So that's another one. And now we have sustainability on top of that. And it'd be nice to have it all in one measurable document. So as we start looking at initiatives going through our committee structure, we can start measuring. Have we done this? Does this apply to that? Or it's a great idea. Can we modify it slightly so that we meet the values or the mission of our goals? It's just,
Wonderful.
I just want to put it all together in one document. This is for development. This is for transportation. This is for energy. This is for ag. And do they reach over?
That makes a lot of sense.
Madam Chair, Wolnik here.
Yes, Ms. Wolnicki.
One thing that you were presenting the 2011 plan and the 2013 and the 2021, I'm glad to see one of the recommendations is water use and water quality. I think that is one of the most important issues coming up in our future. And just driving yesterday, I was driving way north into the west part of Elgin, and the new gas stations that are going on with car washes. And I know there's one proposed, it's very early yet, but there is one proposed on Route 47 near where the Fisherman's Inn is, that corner, I think it's Main Street. Well, a gas station with, I think, a car wash. So I think that's on.
It's coming to staff on Monday.
There you go. Yeah, I read that it was coming to staff on Monday. So I really think we don't want to end up in the same situation Joliet's in, and I don't know how we can approach it, but I think it's one of the most important issues for the future.
Thank you, Ms. Wolnik.
Yeah.
I agree. That brings up the dams too. There's plenty to think about water quality, protecting our precious resources of water. Any other comments or questions?
Yes, ma'am. This is Kobe.
Mr. Copey, please.
Hi, thank you. Let me switch over. I have a lot of trouble here. Okay, this might be better.
That is better.
Thank you. I want to thank Jody for the generous consideration for my point of view and what I have for a vision for the county. I can't thank you enough. And I want to thank this committee also for the consideration. It's wonderful. Sometimes it's hard to work together, and you know, I've got certain political positions that I maintain, but then on the other hand, some of it's pretty good, and you know, overall, it's not just one-sided. So, thank you so much. But I just wanted to mention is that I reached out to McHenry County to see what they had to offer, and then I spoke with another person who was close to the issues at DeKalb County, and what they have is, and they learned the hard way, McHenry County, as it was explained to me by a board member. This onslaught of development of solar became a huge issue for them, and they had to get real smart real fast. And in the document that they finally did render out is still lacking, according to the board member I spoke with, and believe it or not, it pertains to the position that Mo took 2 months ago at a county board meeting in regards to insurance and bonding, and they believe that their bonding structure is not sufficient enough. So that's a big deal, and I'd like to revisit that if we could sometime. And then also the one emphasis that I put on at the agriculture committee was that we have these farmers with these properties. These are entrepreneurs. They're very, very crafty people. They're survivors, so to speak, and they have a need for generating carbon credits for themselves. The crop that they grow is not considered. Is not entirely considered a carbon offset, simply because there's certain aspects to it with fertilizers and nitrogens, and the fact that maybe trees would have been better, and as far as the environment is concerned. So they are probably going to have a need to establish an offset for themselves. And if we could put some emphasis on a fast track for the farmers, when I say fast track, I mean to say a canned plan, so they don't have to. Each farmer doesn't have to reinvent the wheel, and these farmers, a lot of them, their expenses are immense, and so a small solar field would fit right into their strategy, easy enough, and especially if they're gaining carbon credits, because they still have to dry their grain with fossil fuels, and the mandates are going to come knocking on their doors about you're burning a lot of fossil fuel here. Let's talk about offsets. Okay, so there you have it. Now, the reason it's important to identify the farmer, not only because he's economically suitable for this, but the farmer, she, sorry about that, and know a lot of lady farmers. And I lost my train now.
Okay, you're identifying, the reason you want to identify the farmers is because?
Yes, is because, here it is. So these other counties, they are putting a max cap on how many solar acres they are going to allow. And if for example, McHenry County, they want to cap out at 3,000. There's potential for 6,000 acres going under solar in DeKalb County, but they're pushing back on that. They feel it's too much, at least for this time, and they would like to cut that back to 3,000 also. So if one developer comes along and develops 3,000 acres and it's a go, and all we get out of that deal is an increase in the structure of the taxation on the property. It goes from F1 to F3 or whatever the Fs are, and that's all that we would gain on deals like that. Unlike this deal we just went through, which was a great deal, and trust me, I believe that. And if we could carve out a portion of the developable acres for the farmers first, and put an emphasis on that, and say give it a 10-year span and see how it goes, it's possible it could be built out, and you'll have these local farmers, these local entrepreneurs, paying taxes locally and so on and so forth, and it'd be a great thing. So that is why I put that emphasis on at the Ag Department. I'm hoping that we could review some of these ideas from these other counties. It might be easy, and I do have the notes for the changes that McHenry County would like to make on their what do they call this? They call this a Unified Development Ordinance, and zoning regulations permitting to solar farm installations. It's only 2 pages, but it's very compact. But anyway, thank you for your time. Thank you for your consideration. I can't thank you enough. And
Well, Mr. Cope, you are very welcome, and thank you for your ideas. So I think our staff, Ivy and Jody, maybe Karen, will be looking at all of your ideas, and we'll definitely be looking at, I hope we'll be looking at McHenry's ordinances to, I think you're very forward looking in this, and I thank you also. I have a question, Jody, Ms. Wolnik. How would the CMAP LTA grant work? Do they give us technical assistance, or do they give us a grant for technical assistance?
Hi, Mavis. This is Ivy.
Hi.
So the way that the CMAP Local Technical Assistance Program works is we would apply for local technical assistance. CMAP and the Regional Transit Authority are giving out a multitude of different types of technical assistance. So currently, we're still looking into which one we might be eligible for, but I can read you the overview of what the purpose is. The program is to support communities by offering planning and implementation assistance, provide interagency expertise, leverage the region's transit network, and building local government capacity. And they do want the work to align with their comprehensive plan for the region, which is on to 2050, and the regional transit strategic plan. So their focus is on investing in transit. So the way that that would work, we would apply for the local technical assistance. And then that might, whatever type of assistance we would need, that's what they would provide to us. So that could look like data, reporting numbers, information that we don't have access to, or any kind of assistance that we might need that requires a regional viewpoint.
Okay, great. Well, I'm looking forward to, I hope we get that grant. So thanks. Did we already apply for that?
No, so we're still looking into which type of technical assistance we
All
might be
right.
eligible for, because there are
Okay.
a decent amount of different types. But that will be decided soon because the application closes on the 28th.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Klee.
Mhm.
Okay, any other comments or questions about our future planning for sustainability? Okay, let's move on the agenda then. So Ms. Jarland, would you please take over?
Thank you. Thank you, Mavis. So I have two resolutions on the agenda today. They're both pretty much bookkeeping. The first one is a resolution for an MOU with the Reverse Logistics Group of America. This is under the electronics recycling law. That is a state law. It requires this group to organize the whole state program. So it is the group that assigns the counties to the recyclers. And so this is an agreement between that group and Kane County and eWorks. It's a three-way agreement that just spells out all the terms according to the law. It's the same as last year. It's just changed the dates, basically. So we can start with that one.
Okay, thank you. May I have a motion for this?
Molina moves.
Melina
Stratman
moves.
seconds.
Kaya seconds. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Strathman. I'll let you move for the next one. Is there any discussion or questions about this, this referendum? I mean, resolution?
Yeah.
Hearing none? Okay, clerk, please take the roll.
Allen, Caius,
Yes.
Molina,
Molina, yes.
Strathman,
Strathman, yes.
Wallace, Woznicki,
Yes.
Bates,
Bates, yes.
passes.
Thank you very much. Ms. Jarland?
Thank
The
you. The
second?
second resolution is the resolution authorizing the IGA with the Village of West Dundee and eWorks to run our electronics and other materials now, I should say. We're calling them recycling centers, Kane County Recycling Centers, because we take so many other things. But this is the agreement between eWorks, West Dundee, and the county that outlines that. I believe it was, it's the difference between the one that we've run every year and this year is that they are receiving less incentive payment for 2022 because of the reduction in riverboat funds, as well as the fact that they do less work. The village does very little other than us having a substantial footprint there, which is worth something, you know, and that also they receive a lot of phone calls, but they no longer use a forklift to help us load the truck and that sort of thing, which they did originally. So it is a 75% payment at this point. It was a reduction from $1,000 a month to $750 a month. But otherwise, that whole agreement is exactly the same as well.
Okay, thank you. May I have a motion, Ms. Strathman?
Yes, Strathman moves.
Strathman moves. May I have a second, please?
Wolnicki seconds.
Wolnicki seconds. Is there any discussion or questions? Hearing none. Clerk, please take the roll.
Allen, Caius,
Yes.
Molina,
Molina, yes.
Strathman,
Strathman, yes.
Wallace, Woznicki,
Yes.
Bates,
Bates, yes.
passes.
Thank you very much.
All right, and then I do have several updates. I don't have a presentation attached. It's just a verbal update. Firstly, we will be opening the Fabian Parkway Recycling Center on Saturdays, starting on the 30th of this month. And that will go on indefinitely until we decide to change it, because the events have ended for the year. And we do get calls from people who say they can't make it during the weekday because they're working all the time. It's open
Good.
Monday through Friday otherwise, but this is just going to be in the morning on Saturdays, 8 a.m. to noon, and that'll be every week. So that's a wonderful added service that they provide. Regarding the Mill Creek waste and recycling hauling contract that we recently approved, that is now in the process of transitioning. The new contract starts on the 1st of November. And so if you look on the Mill Creek page of the county website, you will see information about the new hauler coming in, and a link to the press release, and a link to the Lakeshore Recycling Services, who's now rebranded as LRS, to their webpage, all about Mill Creek and the services. So all that information is available publicly, has been for a couple of weeks. A mailer was also sent out to all of the residents explaining the transition to them, and also how the cart transition is happening, to leave your carts out after the last service by Waste Management so they can take them away, and LRS is delivering their new ones. I think even in the next couple of weeks, they're going to start rolling that out. So anyway, all that information is online, but not all residents have heard about it somehow. I spoke to someone yesterday who called me. Admittedly, they had just moved to Mill Creek, so they might have missed the mailer, but if you know anyone in Mill Creek, just share the word that they're transitioning. Make sure that they have a look online so that they know what's going on, because people miss a mailer somehow. It just goes in the junk mail pile, I guess. Added services, I think I've mentioned them before, but just again, the added services with the LRS will be that residents will have 2 collection events a year for electronics curbside. So they can actually they'll be notified of the date. They can put the electronics out on the curb. This will include up to 2 TVs for free, which is amazing.
Wow.
Added service for them. They can put those out, and they will just be taken by LRS to the Elburn transfer station, which is now their hub for electronics collection. And all the residents will be paying less for their service than they were this year. It's going to drop back. And then of course, each year it incrementally goes up again, but they're paying less for their services and getting more services. So I've been it's been wonderful to work with LRS. They are just masters at the transition. They've taken a lot of different cities over in Kane County in the last couple of years, and they're really good at transition. So I'm just so pleased with everything. It's been really easy. Next item is the hauler licensing that we do annually. That is also by state law, that we are allowed to license all of the haulers in Kane County that are providing trash and recycling service. And in a review of the ordinance with state attorney's office, we last year explored, does this apply also to junk haulers and transfer trailers and leased vehicles? Those were the questions that have come up over the years where, for example, there's a paper collection company that has drop boxes for paper in the county. And they said, well, we don't own any trucks to license. We just lease our trucks. And, so that was like, oh, well, I'm not sure. That's a blurry line. And then also with the new Elburn transfer station owners, they came in and they said, well, we don't own trucks, but we just have transfer trailers coming out of here. It's like, oh, does this apply to that? So, and then the junk haulers, of course, which have become more prevalent, and there's new ones coming in. So those were the 3 questions we asked of state's attorney's office. And indeed, it was determined, we don't have a written determination on this, but we were told, yes, it applies to them. They are hauling recycling and trash in the county of Kane. And if they have more than 2 trucks, then they need to be licensed and pay the fee. So this year we are wrapping those in. And so this is just notifying you all that that is happening. We're going to notify the haulers, of course, by email in advance of sending out the licensing email. And that happens this month, so that they can become licensed before the end of November for next year. And then we send out, of course, also the reporting form that they all have to fill out. So we are expanding a little bit in who is going to be licensed to haul in Kane County. And then my final item is the, regarding the Kane County Recycling Center in Aurora. And people in the room here have a handout. Unfortunately, well, Mavis, I sent it to you yesterday. So if you'd like to share it with the rest of the committee, you can do that. Also, before I go into the details of it, I'll just make my ask, which is I'm hoping to send this to all of the Aurora board representatives here for the county so they can maybe help with this. The ask is that, you know, we have had this recycling center in Aurora open at the Vet Tech facility since late June, and we still have very low attendance. We've done press releases. We had several articles in the Beacon News, and we are advertising in the Beacon News. On the 10th, there was a Sunday ad, quarter page ad, and on the 24th, there will be a Sunday quarter page ad. And then we have a 2-week online campaign running with 10,000 impressions. Those are those pop-up boxes that come up and people can click on it and it'll go straight to the county page of information. In any case, it's a hard to find location because it's at 911 North Lake Street, which is down a driveway towards the river. So if you're driving down the road, you can't see a building at all. You've got to be on, you've got to be southbound and looking down the hill to see the facility. So it's tricky. I'm working with the City of Aurora Streets Department to get signs, wayfinding signs put up there. And that has been a long process because back and forth with IDOT and all of this. And then finally it's the City of Aurora is going to make it happen for us, but they're not up yet. So we need a higher level of material flow at that facility to keep it running sustainably, for eWorks to be able to continue to maintain a staff person there at all times, which is free of cost to the county, but they need the volume and TVs and monitors to be coming in, which is where they make their money to staff the site, right? We do also take not just electronics, but clothing and textiles and shoes and all those things, and then books as well, and scrap metal there. So this is a great public facility for the residents of Aurora and surrounding areas. And it's free to drop off all those things except for TVs and monitors, but everything else is free to drop off. And I have, so what I need help with is to in-reach to the City of Aurora, to the actual city, and get them to help us advertise this, because it is not for lack of trying on my part to contact the mayor's office and different people, but nothing is happening. And I'm not clear why, but this is the information. And because I try so hard to make all of the information regarding these accurate and thorough, I have given you this full sheet of this is the information. Please, if you can, get this into the City of Aurora and the mayor's office or something. This is what I want it to look like. And to say these words. And we can get you this in an electronic form so that you can share it on that way with the links and whatnot. But there are sort of 4 steps there. Basically, see if we can get the city to do their text and email blast. That's the biggest thing, because that reaches so many people. When we had our hazardous waste event in June and we asked attendees, how did you hear about this event? I can't remember the percentage now, but like half of them said, oh, the text blast that I got from the city. So that would be incredibly helpful. Also, on the city website to have, and I've put the page there that it should probably be on, in my opinion, that it would say the county has this available if you have electronics to recycle. But also, we want to stress that it's not just electronics. It's also all those other things that we collect. And on the back side of this page, you have all the information that I've kind of copied and pasted off of the website for your information and for anyone's information. But when they link on their website to our information, I prefer they just link to the county page so that if anything ever changes, it's accurate. They're not just copying and pasting this point in time onto their website. So I do ask that we put our link on their website. That's what I would will really make a big difference. And then also, if they could alert their public call centers to this information so that those people who are answering the phone with questions have the answers.
It's quite simple. Oh, yes, it's at 911 North Lake Street. It's on the east side of the road across from North Gate. Go down the driveway, you know, and here are the hours. Because often people say, oh, I called the city and they said they don't know anything about it. And they said to call you, you know, so there's just such a more direct route for that. And then also just please tell everybody you know who lives in Aurora, tell your family and friends, ask them to tell their family and friends. I will be reaching out. I talked to Barbara Bushbacher and got a lot of ideas for further ways to amplify this message. And we'll be doing those, but one of them is libraries have a big reach. And so we're going to get posters hung in the libraries and maybe even in their newsletters, we can do something. So I've got some other things up my sleeve, but if it's okay with this committee to send this to all of the Aurora board members for their help, that would be great. So that's my ask.
Any discussion?
Oh, I have one more thing to say. Sorry,
Okay,
just
sure, great.
another little point, which is that the city of Aurora does provide 2 electronics recycling events a year. And they are free for Aurora residents. They have to show their ID and they can bring up to 2 TVs for free. So I wonder if Aurora doesn't think maybe this is competition in some way with that or something, but it's just not. Yes, we charge for the TVs and monitors and it's not as great a service as that free one, but it's not just twice a year. It's year round, you know, 5 days a week. And so it is a service that will provide you know, convenience to their residents. So I just wanted to add that. Thanks.
Oh, thank you so much, Ms. Jarland, for all of that information and letting us know. Any comments, any questions? I think this is a call to arms for Myrna and I, Miss Miss Molina and I, and a few of our other compatriots from Aurora to maybe go and bring some chocolate chip cookies to Mayor Irvin or something like that. So any other comments or discussion? Ms. Molina, are you ready to go help me with this?
Yeah, absolutely. I know there was a lot of construction on Lake Street. So even when you are driving there, the signage isn't there. So I think that's one of the big things we need to work on, signage and just maybe just doing social media blasts. I'll be doing one today. Mavis will be doing one today. And I'll tag everybody I know in the city of Aurora. It's really just getting the word out. But when you drive by Lake Street, you don't see it because it's not on Lake Street. So it's really hard to know it's there if you know, there's no real signage. There's a really tiny sign that I see, but there's a bunch of tiny signs competing with it. So, but yeah, we'll do our best. We'll get everything out this weekend and hopefully that works.
Is there a Facebook presence that we can share or something like that? Is this on?
No.
What can we
No,
share?
I talked to Barbara Bushbacher about that too, and evidently we're on the brink of having a Facebook page for Kane County, but we don't, or we
Okay.
didn't a couple of weeks ago when I talked to her about this.
All right, because sometimes it's easier
Yeah,
to share
it
than
was.
create your own. All right, we'll get on that right away.
Oh, Brenda, I'm so sorry. BB.
Good. Okay, so we will, I think we need to go and talk to Mayor Irvin to get his help, or maybe Clayton Muhammad. And so that will all be on our radar, and we need to help you a lot. Ms. Jarland, every time I think I know what your job is, I find out there's many more aspects to it, including licensing haulers. So thank you for all your hard work and knowledge. Okay, we'll move on to the next item on our agenda, please.
Good morning, everyone. This is Ivy. I have a quick update from October. So we sponsored 2021 virtual de-icing workshops in partnership with the Conservation Foundation and a few other local county entities. So these workshops were held in September and October. And the focus of these was to educate and discuss sensible salting for the upcoming winter months. I did some outreach to multiple departments, King County engineers, public works staff, sent this out in our MS4 newsletter, and private winter maintenance companies. I know that we did have some KDOT staff attending, and I think staff from some other departments as well. And I did sit in on a few of the workshops as well, and they were fun, very interesting. I learned a lot. So this was a highlight of our October month for sustainability. One of the fun facts, which might be suitable for everyone here, when you're going out to salt your driveway and any kind of pathway that you have at your home, you only need 1 cup of salt. So I know that the idea with these workshops is that you can overuse salt, and that can be an issue that affects our waterways, that affects road infrastructure. It can be dangerous for pets if you have any. So just keep that in mind when you're salting your driveway this winter, and tell your neighbors and friends. So yeah, that's all I have for today.
You can even get into the aquifer, right?
Yes. So the issue is that over salting, chloride gets into our waterways, and that can be a real issue because there isn't really a way to take it out of the water.
Right. I even think it adds to high blood pressure in people because the salt is getting into our drinking water. But that is my own humble opinion. So don't try to look it up. Okay, thank you, Ivy. Next, Ms. Miller.
Good morning. In response to a request by Congressman Bill Foster and Madam Chairman Parad, staff put together a paddling excursion on Saturday, September 12th. We employed Howling Wolf Canoe and Kayak, which is a fairly new business in North Aurora. They provided the gear and the instruction. This was in part in response to Congressman Foster learning about the fabulous Fox Water Trail. And as a paddler himself, he wanted to learn more about the water trail, what we're doing, and also an opportunity to get out on the river. So I wanted to share with you some photos from that trip, which started in North Aurora Island Park and exited at Veterans Memorial Island Park, as you can see on the map that you can find on the Fabulous Fox Water Trail website. Like I said, I've included some photos. Unfortunately, I was on vacation and unable to attend, but I understand that everyone had a good time.
Yes, we did. We had a marvelous time, didn't we, Madam Chair? Is Corinne still with us?
Oh, I'm still here. I was just reflecting as I'm looking at those pictures, wishing we were all there right now. It was absolutely lovely. Challenging too. And thank goodness we had the guide, and he was fantastic, leading us through this for very novice paddlers who had to focus on making sure that I didn't make a fool out of myself. But it was.
Well, the hard part was the water was so low. So Jake had scouted out, every 4 inches of water that we could pass through. Otherwise, if you get stuck, sometimes you get out and pull your kayak, or you have to stick your hands in the water and give yourself a little shove. But this was really fun. So thank you for arranging that, Karen. It was a beautiful evening and hopefully brought more appreciation of our beautiful river.
You're welcome, and maybe we can do it again sometime.
Karen, I do know that there is interest. Anna Moeller, Representative Moeller, is very much interested in doing this in the northern part of Kane County. So I look forward to doing this again, perhaps late spring when the water is appropriate, maybe a little higher than, a little bit more stress for me, but I will do my best.
You did a great job, Corinne.
To get through this. But it's important to bring our legislators there and other leaders of the community so that they become aware of the economic opportunities engaged with the Fox River, as well as the environmental opportunities to protect it. As the Fox River becomes more of a valuable resource for us, and I'll do a little ad for it, not only for our recreational activities, economic activities, but also our drinking water. We're going to have to ensure that the water is protected. I mean, truly protected on all different levels, whether that's taking down the dams, making sure that there's not chloride going in there from the winter, other nutrients coming in from agriculture and from homes. Nitrogen, I guess that would be from the fertilizers.
And
So-
phosphorus.
phosphorus. So we do have to make sure that we are very much aware of what this entails. And by bringing people out to the Fox River and having tourism there, that awareness will continue to increase, and the valuableness of this rare resource that Kane County has will continue to be appreciated.
Our beautiful river. Absolutely. Love it and protect what you love. Okay, thank you. And October, Ms. Miller?
Yes, so here we are in October again. This is a celebration that began in 2015 by the Morton Arboretum, which has the Chicago Region Trees Initiative, and I happen to be co-chair of the Trees and Green Infrastructure Working Group as part of the CRTI. But the idea is to acknowledge and recognize the importance of oak trees as part of our environment and ecosystem. Oaks represent strength and stature. The white oak happens to be the Illinois state tree. Oaks work for us by cleaning our air and water, reducing ambient air temperature and usage of energy. They also reduce flooding and support our native wildlife. Our oaks and trees in general improve our well-being and support a sense of community. Next slide, please. And so during the rest of the month of October, if you're looking for something fun to do, you can check out these resources, some of which focus on oaks, the Forest Preserve District of Kane County, your local park district. There's an interesting Witness Trees of Illinois map on the Morton Arboretum website, which shows the location of the original witness trees that were mapped back in the 1800s, some of which still exist. And the idea is to go out and look and see if any of those trees in your vicinity are still in existence. The Chicago Region Trees Initiative Community Tree Planting Grants, which are due October 31st, and which will provide some trees and also some assistance for planting and managing those trees. You can find that on their website. Appreciate the trees around you. Look up and look at the beautiful canopy of oaks and other types of trees in the area, wherever you go. And happy October.
Thank you. Happy October to you too. Any other comments or oak tree stories or just appreciation for oaks? I'm up in Door County right now looking at the leaves, and not too many oaks up here, I don't think, but there are some at Newport State Park, I think. Maybe we'll make it up there today. Is there any other comments about October? Okay, any new business? May I have a motion to place
Hold on, I do, please.
Oh, yes,
if I
ma'am.
may. Thank you, Mavis. And having fun, I'm sure, in Door County. A couple of weeks ago, I had the opportunity to tour a garden up in Elgin, unincorporated part of Elgin, and the woman whose garden this was showcased the disaster that was happening in her yards because of herbicides that were coming in from agriculture. She lives in this interesting area where agriculture is behind her, and I'm not banging agriculture at all, but also yard services who spray herbicides on the plants. And apparently, again, this is new for me. The herbicide, because it's liquid, floats up into the air and can extend itself to 5 miles away and then drops down. Having asked about this and actually took some pictures, I would like to know the status of what we are doing here in Kane County to make sure that we don't have an herbicide that we are using that will destroy our native plants, that will also go up into the air and travel, ruining our trees, as well as other people's properties, because we're talking about the oaks. This has got a huge impact, and she shared with me how it does impact on her property, almost 200-year-old trees, as well as her tomato plants that she was growing, so both domestic as well as large plants. I have photographs of the leaves, what happened to them. I've seen what happened to the stems. And then I've also heard that on some of our own forest preserve property, where they're trying to plant native plants, the herbicide floats down and actually wipes out the young plants because it destroys it, considers it a weed. It also affects people who have asthma and breathing problems because it is floating down, and it does get into the waterway. And I have asked her, I don't know if she has contacted the health department to do a well test for her property because it is in her grass, and I'm sure it's going into her water system as well, her well. So this is something that I do have concerns with. We can't control what everybody else is doing, but we certainly control what Kane County is doing. And I believe this chemical is coming from well, I don't know exactly what chemical is being used for local, but for agriculture, apparently it's coming from Dow Chemicals. So it's pretty easy to research what that chemical is that they're using that floats up, the herbicide. But it's important that we continue to work on this and to make awareness of it. And I know winter is coming, so things are not going to be growing, but certainly next spring, it would be wonderful if we could work with our ag committee to talk about these efforts and see if there's other products that can be used that can protect the plants because obviously they have to grow these plants and they can't have weeds growing amongst them. But what we can do locally here in Kane County and to start promoting other uses or other products. If people want to try to keep dandelions and whatever other weeds may be growing in our gardens and our yards that we don't want to have.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Caius and I believe Ms. Wolnicki have discussed the idea of creating a subcommittee that would look into this matter. I believe I discussed this with Ms. Wolnik, and we could not put more burden on our staff, but we would, amongst the board members, I believe that we would like to create a subcommittee. And I was going to come and ask you if that would be okay with you to create a subcommittee. So thank you for bringing this to us as well. So that can be a conversation of.
Yes, of course, absolutely. And I think there may be some other members here that would be interested in talking about that as well.
We also went to, this is Patsy Hirsch's home. And I know Mr. Caius, Ms. Wolnicki, Cheryl, Ms. Strathman, you were there too, right?
Yes, I've been there about 7 times this summer with all the different tours that Patsy has given.
Wow. Okay. So what would be our next steps on this? Should we form a subcommittee and I can talk to you about it, Madam Chair?
Yes, can you work together with this?
Yes, definitely. And I had forwarded on the information that you received, Madam Chair, to Mark Van Kerkhoff as well as Karen Miller.
Okay.
She does, Ms. Miller, and I don't want to speak for you, Karen, but has a lot of resources in regards to the Morton Arboretum and the Chicago Tree Initiative that she has available that our staff does not have. So I think Ms. Miller would be an important member of the subcommittee because she brings a lot of resources to that type of resource.
Great. Community awareness, I think, is probably going to be the most critical. And then going next year, what can Kane County use from our vendors who are taking care of our own properties to make sure that we don't use this this herbicide?
Karen, did you want to add anything to that? I see you're unmuted.
Not at this time, but I'd be more than happy to help.
Okay, thank you. I will move this forward, Madam Chair. Thank you for bringing this to us. And this is.
Thank you, Mavis. I
This has
appreciate it.
been, Karen, you've been out there too, haven't you?
I have not.
Okay,
I have heard about it, but I have not been out to see it.
all right. Well, we will
Okay,
we will
did-
make this happen.
What if you can share with Karen the pictures of those leaves that I took the photograph of, all from the same tree?
Mhm.
Yes, we have the flyer from the owner that we forwarded on. So if you have additional pictures, certainly that would be great.
Oh, sure. No, I have the 3 leaves from the same tree. One had, 2 had, 3 of them. One did not have herbicide, the other got the herbicides, and the texture of the leaves are just extraordinary. And I think I gave those to Chris.
Okay, we will find those pictures. We will start, we will get a plan for a subcommittee. It's dicamba is the
Madam-
name of the. Mr. Cope, is that
Madam
you?
Yes, thank you. In your efforts to construct a committee, is it possible you could strongly consider a farmer advocate of some sort, maybe even perhaps the Kane County Farm Bureau? So they may have ideas. This may be something that is already discussion.
Are you volunteering,
And,
Mr. Copey?
I can't. I'm completely maxed out.
Okay,
And
but the Kane County Farm Bureau is a good idea. I'm sure Janice Hill would probably be a great resource on this. So thank you for that suggestion.
Thank you.
That's a great idea. Okay, I'm about to incur the wrath of the Jobs Committee. So let's bring back the screen, please. Are we still sharing? Okay, thank you. New business, is there any other discussion? I don't want to chop off the discussion, just gently move it forward. Any other comments? Okay. May I have a motion to have the reports placed on file?
Strathman will move.
Wolnik seconds.
Strathman, Monique, thank you. Do we roll call on this? I forget. Yes, okay, clerk, please.
Allen? Caius?
Caius, yes.
Molina,
Molina, yes.
Strathman?
Strathman, yes.
Wallace? Wojnicki?
Yes.
Bates?
Bates, yes.
Yes.
Once again, I would like to thank our wonderful staff and all of our active and wonderful county board members for all of the concern and interest that we put into sustainability and the environment and energy here at Kane County. And I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Caius moves.
Strathman seconds.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
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 Thank you, everybody. See you.
Enjoy your vacation,
Good time.
Mavis.
Thank you. Good to go out and find some leaves, some fall